The night was unusually still. Only the whisper of waves brushed against the rocks below. A faint mist drifted over the coastline, wrapping the cliffs in ghostly white. Eli turned his lantern higher, the flame flickering against the wind. The old map in his hand trembled slightly, not from the wind, but from the weight of what it promised. Gold, jewels, a lifetime of legends buried beneath the earth. He followed the crooked trail along the cliffside. The smell of salt and wet moss filled his lungs. Each step echoed against the hollow stones, louder than it should have been. Somewhere ahead, the sound of water dripping broke the silence. He reached the mouth of the cave. Cold air breathed out from the darkness, damp and metallic. He hesitated, feeling the sting of the night against his face. Inside, the cave walls glistened as his lantern light danced across them. The floor was slick, the rocks sharp beneath his boots. He thought he heard movement. A soft scrape, like something dragging along the stone. He turned sharply, lantern raised, but saw only the shadows shifting. The air grew colder. He pressed deeper into the cave, his breath shallow and quick. A narrow tunnel opened to a small chamber, half flooded with dark water. In the center stood a chest, half buried in mud. His pulse quickened. He waded forward, water rising to his knees, then to his waist. His hand brushed the lid of the chest. It felt strange, too smooth, too warm for metal. He leaned closer, wiping away the mud. For a moment, it seemed to pulse beneath his palm, as if something inside was alive. Eli stepped back, the lantern shaking in his grip. From within the chest came a faint sound, slow, deliberate, like breathing. He froze, heart hammering against his ribs. Then, something knocked from the inside. Once, twice. A long, scraping sound followed, echoing through the cave walls like a scream swallowed by the dark. He stumbled backward, slipping on the wet stone. The lantern flew from his hand, crashing into the water. Flame hissed out. Darkness swallowed everything. Then came the whisper, low, close, and right beside his ear. Eli froze where he stood. The whisper came again, softer this time, curling through the darkness like smoke. His breath came in shallow bursts, each one louder than the last. He reached out blindly, fingers trembling as they searched for the fallen lantern. The water rippled. Something moved beside him. He felt it brush against his leg, cold, smooth, deliberate. His throat tightened, but no sound came out. The smell of rust and seaweed grew stronger, choking the air around him. He finally found the lantern, but when he lifted it, the glass was shattered. His reflection shimmered for a second in the dark water below. But there was another face beside his. Eyes pale and wide. Not human. He stumbled backward, slipping against the slick wall. The chest in the center of the chamber had shifted. The lid was no longer shut. A faint light pulsed from within, green and unsteady, painting the walls in strange shadows. Eli's heartbeat thundered in his ears. He wanted to run, but his feet refused to move. A low hum filled the air, deep and resonant, like 1,000 whispers layered together. The light inside the chest grew brighter, twisting, writhing, alive. Shapes began to form, hands, faces, drifting upward like smoke made of light. They circled him slowly, their mouths moving soundlessly, eyes locked on his. He pressed against the wall, shaking his head. "Who are you?" he tried to say, but the words barely escaped his lips. The faces drew closer, their expressions hollow, eyes endless and black. He felt the cold breath against his skin. Every instinct screamed for him to run. He lunged for the tunnel, splashing through the water. But the cave shifted. Beneath him, the walls seemed to breathe, closing in, pulsing with that same green glow. He stumbled, fell to his knees, and the whisper returned, clear this time, and human. "Do not leave what was taken." Eli froze again, his hands gripping the mud. He turned slowly, heart pounding. The chest now stood open and empty. Only the dark water moved inside it, slow, swirling, like something waiting to rise. Then he felt it, a hand, cold fingers wrapping around his ankle, pulling him down. The water rippled once more, swallowing the light completely. The world around Eli dissolved into darkness. He thrashed, kicking at the cold grip that held his ankle. But the harder he struggled, the deeper he sank. The water rose to his chest, then to his throat. He gasped, tasting salt and metal. The voices grew louder now, no longer whispers but cries. They echoed inside his skull, pleading, warning, demanding. Then suddenly, silence. Eli opened his eyes. He was no longer underwater. He stood on a narrow ledge deep within the cave, breathing hard, dripping with seawater. Before him lay the chest, open again, but empty. The green glow was gone. Only the faint shimmer of his lantern's broken glass caught what little light remained. He staggered forward, still trembling. The air was thick, heavy, almost humming with something unseen. He knelt beside the chest and saw a single object resting at the bottom. A small coin, old and worn, engraved with a single word, return. He picked it up, his fingers numb from cold. The cave floor shifted beneath him, and a sound like a heartbeat pulsed through the stone. He suddenly understood. The treasure had never belonged to him. It was never meant to be found, only remembered. He placed the coin back into the chest, closed the lid, and whispered an apology. The cave sighed, a long, low breath that seemed to pass through him. The water around his boots receded, the air warmed, and for the first time, the silence felt peaceful. Eli turned and walked toward the mouth of the cave. Outside, dawn had begun to rise over the horizon, painting the sea with streaks of gold. He looked back once, the faint echo of the waves whispering behind him. There was no sign of the chest now, only calm water and the soft hum of the ocean. Eli smiled faintly, his fear replaced by something deeper, respect, awe, and the quiet understanding that some secrets are meant to stay hidden. He took one last look at the sea and began his walk home. The morning light guiding his way, and the legend of the hidden treasure finally at peace.